this is Tata, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Sunday, February 4th, 2024, and tonight I'll be talking about NXT Vengeance Day, but I'm not alone. Joining me for this, none other than the Renegade himself, JJ Williams. How are you, JJ?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It was an interesting day, to say the least.
Yes. Nice
Uh,
quiet day. I watched the AEW I needed to watch to review tomorrow on my show. And then we had Vengeance Day.
yeah, this was interesting. I definitely went in with it with an open mind.
And what
So
did you think?
I'll get into my thoughts as we get into the
Okay.
show.
Fair. I just thought maybe you could give like an overall thing, but we can
I'll do it
we
at the
can
end.
okay.
All right, so let's talk about this Trick Williams versus Ilja Dragunov, this match, because this was the main event, and what happened at the end left some people speechless if you haven't been reading between the lines, you know?
Yes.
So at the end of this match, Trick Williams was all like beaten down, and Carmelo Hayes, he went into the ring. He told him, "You're my boy," and he chop blocked him, and he hit him with the chair on the leg, and you could hear the crowd chanting "Fuck you, Mello." And he put a TMG shirt. I'm not sure what the significance of that is. But he
Trick Mellow
basically,
game.
what?
Trick Mellow game.
Oh, so he did. He basically turned on Trick Williams, but I have to say I'm not surprised. I mean, I know I came into the storyline very late, but
Yes.
even I saw this coming a mile away.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been waiting for the resolution of the attack at Trick Williams, which was back in October of last year, for 4 months now. Like almost as long as we were waiting for the reveal of who the devil was in AEW. You know, seems like it was about the same amount of time, about 4 months from all in, all out to the whatever it was that they called the end of the year show. But it's about the same amount of time. We've just been patiently waiting, and it was like we thought maybe it would happen in the Dusty Classic match, but no, it happened here as the show was going off the air. Glad to finally see the trigger get pulled. Glad to finally see Mello revealed. Mello always was better as a heel, anyways. He just kind of had an organic babyface turn because he was so good you couldn't help but like him. But he's got that natural heel vibe to him too. So it's good to see him turn, and I'm sure we're going to start building out towards Stand and Deliver, Philadelphia, WrestleMania weekend, Trick versus Mello on NXT's biggest stage. Yeah, this was awesome the way it was executed.
I was saying Trick put up a good fight with Dragunov. Also, why Mellow? Why? I guess we'll find out on NXT after
Yes, hopefully
Vengeance
you'll
Day.
still watch Tuesday, even though you don't have to review it anymore. Hopefully you'll watch so that you can at least get the storyline coming out.
We'll see. But yeah, I thought the way the execution was really good. Somebody on Twitter pointed out that Carmelo Hayes was kind of dressed like Shawn Michaels when he betrayed Marty Jannetty on the barbershop. And looking back, that was true. You know, he did
Mhm.
look like he had that leather jacket and everything.
Absolutely. Shawn Michaels, I mentioned this to you before. He's had a knack of sprinkling old storylines that he was involved in into the storylines of the NXT he's controlling. You know, from the barbershop window incident to with JC and Gigi to Roxanne collapsing after her match with Maiko Satomura. Now this, like little bitty sprinkles of don't forget who's actually running this stuff.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
No, but yeah, I you have talked to me about that before, where Shawn Michaels has a habit of rewriting his storylines on NXT.
Hmm. And this was just another instance of some of that.
Yeah, I picked up on that. So the NXT World Title match, Trick Williams versus Ilja Dragunov. This was intense. I was like, oh my god! Like Ilja Dragunov started bleeding from the nose, Trick Williams from the mouth. I was like, oh my! I found myself saying, "Whoop that trick!" I was like, oh my god! I need a I lost my smile storyline too, right? So
Give it time.
I
Give it
found
time.
myself saying, "Whoop that trick!" This match was really intense. This was one of my favorite matches of the night. This was a really great freaking match.
Absolutely. It did everything it needed to do. And I'm glad to hear that you got caught up in the moment and were chanting whoop that trick, much like the 15,000 people at SmackDown did when he came out there. You know, much like you talk about with TNA and how people want to try and pretend like nobody watches. A lot of people like to pretend like nobody watches SmackDown. Those 15,000 people on SmackDown said otherwise about people watching my NXT. So I'm very, very proud to hear that you got caught up in that moment and were chanting whoop that trick.
Yeah, I did. I did. It was a really great moment, honestly. But this match, I kind of thought there was a spot where Carmelo Hayes was like, I don't want hugging Trick Williams, and he was checking up on him. I thought that was the spot where it was gonna happen. You know?
That's fair. That's a fair shout, but I feel like they did it correctly and they had to wait for the end of the show. They had to do that, the lower third is thrown up there, everyone thinks it's going off the air, and boom, that's when it happens.
Yeah. But oh my god, when Carmelo Hayes, I don't know if he did it on purpose or an accident, but when he distracted the referee and then Trick Williams inadvertently ran into the ref, I was like, oh, okay, he's not winning this at all.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was a pretty big tell. I almost thought they were going to pull the trigger there and
Yeah,
have the
same.
turn happen and have that be, the match ends up getting disqualified because of the attack and the turn. But I'm glad they let the match finish out. They let Ilja Dragunov hit his finisher and get the victory, and then they pulled the trigger.
Yeah, it was really great. I really liked the execution of it.
Me too.
All right. So NXT Vengeance Day kicked off with the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. It was Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams versus Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin, or the Wolf Dogs, as they like to call themselves.
Yep, the Wolf Dogs.
All right. So this match was a pretty decent match. I really liked the spot where all four of the wrestlers were in the ring and, they were going at it. Braun Breaker at the start of this match was all about him. Like he went after Hayes, he went after Williams and stuff like that. Were you shocked that Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin were victorious?
No, I figured they would be because when Baron Corbin first approached Braun about doing this team, he made a very valid point in that if they were able to come together and unite, they would be unstoppable. And they have been. Baron Corbin is the seasoned vet that doesn't get any respect from anybody because of the failed gimmicks he's had and everything. And Braun Breaker is that young, hungry up and comer. It works. It's a time tested formula. But I just felt that they were going to gel really good. And somebody on the live stream for the watch along brought up a valid point. And, what if they decide not to go for Tony D'Angelo and the D'Angelo family's titles with Braun teasing a call up to the main roster? What if they decide to go after the Judgment Day? Or whoever the victors are of the Elimination Chamber match that's being set up?
Ooh, it's a possibility. I'm intrigued.
Corbin's been on the main roster. Braun's teasing a call up. They've got this Dusty Classic momentum behind them. Just saying. And Michael, I am sad too that this is the final review for NXT from Datilla, but it may not be if she can get to 1,000 subscribers.
Daniel said he was the one that said that.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't able to see all the comments because, again, I was having technical difficulties. I was on the phone, but I did hear that somebody threw that out there, and that's just a great storyline right there.
I think Baron Corbin and Braun Baker winning this just added to the Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams storyline.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I didn't think Trick and Mello were going to make it to the finals, but they did against all odds. And then you kind of had a situation like we did at the 2001 King of the Ring, where somehow, some way, Kurt Angle managed to make it to the finals of the King of the Ring tournament, and he still had to fight Shane McMahon in that street fight later on in the night. So Shane helped him win the semis match, so he'd have to wrestle in the finals. Then he cost him the finals before having the street fight. And it was like making Trick have these multi matches on the card was just great for the storyline development of it here.
Michael was like, he was talking to me earlier and it was raining by her. And I said it's raining because the weather said that she's not reviewing NXT anymore.
I agree. Well, see, we both live in California, so it's raining out here by me too. But like I was starting to allude to before Datilla brought up the fact that Daniel made that point, if Datilla hits 1,000 subscribers, she has promised me, which means she is promising you, the viewers, that she will start reviewing the NXT TV specials and PLEs. So you'll get at least 12 reviews a year from Datilla about NXT, because the months that there's not a PLE, there's a TV special. So get her up to 1,000 before Roadblock, and she has to cover Roadblock. Spread the word.
You're funny.
Hey, I seem to not be the only one who's sad that this is your last NXT review for now, Datilla. So hey, at least you're not having to review it at 10:30 at night.
It's true.
After we're done, you can still go watch some of your soap operas if you want.
I'm probably just gonna.
Or watch a couple old episodes of Power Rangers.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that. We'll see. We'll see. So next we have the no DQ match. It's Dijak versus Joe Gacy. When did Dominic Dijakovic become Dijak?
When he came back down to NXT, they just dropped the last name.
Emmanuel says JJ is going to tell Tato and Noah one of us, like the movie
Yep.
Freaks.
One of us.
And I've never seen that movie, but I get the reference.
Same.
So I thought this was a pretty decent match.
Yeah, I mean, I was pulling for Joe Gacy because I felt like he really needed it as opposed to Dijak. Dijak is one of those guys that just needs to kind of be that measuring stick in NXT. He doesn't really need to win all the time. He's kind of like that Dolph Ziggler-esque talent where you test yourself against him to see if you're ready to move to the next level. So I felt a win for Gacy would have been big here, but then you can't have Dijak lose every single match either. So
Michael thought it was a fun opening to the show. Mr. PLE Dijak.
Right.
I see. He thought that Gacy versus Dijak was big. What is Gacy's gimmick? Is he like he kind of and I don't know if this would be a fair comparison. Kind of in a way reminded me of Crazy Steve from TNA.
I'm not that familiar with Crazy Steve and his gimmick, but Joe Gacy used to be kind of like a cult leader.
Okay.
He had his family with him, Ava Rain, the Grizzled Young Vets. They were called the Dyad. He had this whole cult-like family called the Schism. You know, 4 roots, 1 tree, and it's very like Manson-esque in his family,
Mm-hmm.
but the Grizzled Young Vets wanted out of their deal, and now they're in TNA, up 1-0 in the series against ABC. Ava Rain is now the GM of NXT, and that just kind of leaves Joe Gacy on his own, and he kind of seems to have been going crazy ever since the breakup of the Schism, ever since the tree was chopped down to the roots.
That group went nowhere.
It had potential, but yeah, it didn't get off the ground.
Well, I can't complain too much about that group ending because we got an amazing match out of ABC and the Grizzled Young Vets.
We did. I was always curious to see what they could do outside of the dyad label and the schism tree. And I've been thoroughly impressed by the Grizzled Young Vets ever since they left NXT. So I'm not mad, but it just kind of, they never were able to really get going anywhere.
Io says it's a similar comparison. Oh, okay. So, yeah. So, Joe Gracie does remind me of Crazy Steve. Just don't want to have Gary stabbing people with forks. We cannot have that.
No.
Oh, you haven't seen Crazy Steve yet, have you?
I think I've seen him once or twice, but not enough to like really get a firm grasp on who he is and what he does.
So he stabs people with forks.
No.
He stabs people with forks. He stabbed Tommy Dreamer with the fork. So we get our first segment of the ladies from Chase U. Did I do that correctly?
Yes, you did. See, okay. See.
Is it like this or like how? Like how far from the face is it supposed to be?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I mean, usually they do like a full-on extension, but like I don't want to knock my computer over either. So.
Okay. So like this.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Okay. So they were promoting their calendar, which apparently was available on WWEshop.com, but that thing sold out quick.
Yeah, according to WWEshop.com, it is now officially out of stock. Again, we were talking before we went on the air. I don't know if they're going to restock. I don't know if they just sold the copies that were at the show, but it's kind of a bummer that such a hot commodity is gone so quickly, but it's good things for Chase U because if it's sold out and it's out of stock, that means they've recuperated the money to save the university.
Michael says it's sold out.
No. I know my buddy Walter was going to order 2 copies, one for him and one for me.
It says, give me Chase U versus Joe Henry at Worlds Collider Calibration. If that happens, JJ and I are going to be on opposing sides here because he's going to be rooting for Chase U and I'm going to be rooting for Joe Henry.
We're on opposite sides anyway because you're Miss TNA and I'm Mr. NXT. So we're already on opposite sides of that coin.
That's true. That's very true. So next we had, I didn't realize until the match was starting that this was a 6-person mixed tag match. I did not realize that.
That's the thing that we've been hyped for all along because it was the first time we were really getting to see Adriana Rizzo from the D'Angelo family and Jaida Parker from OTM really get in the ring and show off. They've never been in the ring before. So it was their debut, and OTM versus the D'Angelo family story is kind of what it is. For me, for Noah, for Jeff, all on the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media, it was all about the women and seeing what they were going to bring to the table.
I'm going to be completely honest here. This match kind of took me out of the pay-per-view. I was not a huge fan of this match, believe it or not. Mike, you thought it was a fun match? Okay. Yeah, I wasn't a huge... I wasn't a huge fan of this match. It took me out. I feel like it started off slow and it picked up towards the end.
Hmm.
So I'll say that much. The ladies were great. I think they nailed it. But there was just something about this. I wasn't feeling it.
See, I thought it started off really good with the bell ringing and the two women in the ring while the four men kind of brawled on the outside. Once order was resumed and we started to get to traditional tag action, I'll agree with you that it slowed down a little bit until the end. But I felt like once the bell rang, like everything started off pretty hot and heavy. Everyone scattered and the women were really getting that opportunity to shine in the ring to start because we knew they weren't going to do the bulk of the match. We knew they were probably going to get the hot tag towards the end, get a few spots in, and then whatever the finish was going to be was going to be. I do agree it was probably the weaker match of the night. Not enough to take me out of it though, because my eyes were completely focused on the two people that you didn't even know were going to be part of the match at first. So, maybe if you knew going in or realized going in that it was going to be a 6-man, it wouldn't have taken you out of the match. But I was all set to have eyes on the two women and see what they brought to the dance. And I agree with Michael. It was a fun match. It wasn't a show stealer. It wasn't match of the night, but it did what it needed to do to move those storylines forward to whatever we're going to get at Roadblock or even Stand and Deliver. It did its job.
Yeah, the family won. So I feel like their rivalry is not over.
Yeah, exactly.
Should have been a no hose bar match bra.
We already had the no DQ match though with Joe Gacy and Dijak, so you don't want to have two matches that are similar themed.
Mm-hmm.
If this goes forward, then maybe they could do that again, like I said, at Roadblock, and then they can do that stipulation because I'm sure this whole storyline's not over yet.
Yeah. So next we had a backstage segment with Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. And Williams asked Hayes why he took the spear for him. And Carmelo Hayes is just telling Williams that he needs to slay. And Trick Williams tells Carmelo Hayes that he needs his brother by his side. He kind of sealed his own fate by having
Mhm.
Carmelo Hayes go out there with him for the main event.
Yeah, as soon as I heard that, I knew they were going to pull the trigger at some point tonight
Yeah.
because pretty much ever since October, when Trick really started his rise, he's told Mello that he wanted to do things on his own. He didn't want Mello out there. He wanted to prove that he could carry it on his own. So for him to finally be like, I want my brother out there, it was like, okay. So for 3.5 months, you haven't wanted this MFer out there, but now all of a sudden you do. Turn's coming.
Yeah, I agree. He's still dismayed with that one.
Yeah.
So next we had my second favorite match of the night. Well, actually, technically first because this match went on first before the main event. But we had my other favorite match of the night, the NXT Women's Championship match, Roxanne Perez versus Lyra Valkyria. This match was great. It was
Yeah.
fucking great. I really enjoyed this match. And then when Lola Vice inserted herself in there, I was like, oh my god, she's gonna steal the championship from Roxy. Roxy's gonna turn heel because she's gonna get pissed. I think I actually got invested in this match. I didn't fully understand the storyline. I kind of got it, but I was like, oh my god, they're gonna give the title to Lola Vice, and it didn't happen that way. But this was still a fantastic match.
Yeah. This match was so good, Datilla, that once it was over, Noah said that this match reminded him of his NXT. That's how
Damn
good
it.
this match was. And from Noah Foster, that's like a stamp of approval.
Yeah, I also said it was his favorite women's triple threat. Yes, it was.
You
This was
know,
a. Let me see. Lola felt her cash in, which is leading to Roxanne Perez versus Lola Vice. Roxanne is too
probably.
good. Lyra keeps shining. Lola showed. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, just that look on Roxanne's face at the end of the match after like she had that match won, and because of Lola, like she lost. Oh, you could tell she was pissed. You just saw it in her face.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because think about this. Freaking Roxanne once again had a title opportunity taken away from her, and she wasn't even the one to get pinned. So she's got a huge bone of contention to pick. I would almost bet that we're going to get Roxy versus Lola at Roadblock as a result of this. And then the winner will probably face Lyra at Stand and Deliver. But this match was just so good. Anybody that didn't see it, please go back on the Peacock Network and watch this match. Those two women, Lyra and Roxy, showed some tremendous chain wrestling in the early going. Just move for move, counter from counter. And then as soon as Lola's music hit, I was like, are we getting a Seth Rollins moment here?
Right? That's what
Like,
I thought too.
seriously, I said that on the commentary. It's like, are we about to witness NXT's heist of the century? Like, seriously. I didn't even think about it when me and Noah were talking about the outcome of this match on Simply Predicting. Lola Vice and her contract were the furthest thing from my mind. But her coming out and cashing that opportunity, like you said, it was like, oh my God, Lola's about to take this. And then when she kicked Tatum Paxley's head off, then she started getting in there against Lyra and Roxy. It was like, this is really going to happen. But luckily, at least for Roxy, luckily Lola's attempt was failed. And now come Tuesday, there's going to be a huge bone of contention here because Roxy still didn't get her one-on-one matchup, nor was she pinned in the decision.
Yeah.
So she should still feel like she's the number one contender here.
Emmanuel says, once I saw Lola, we kind of figured that she would take the fall for someone.
We didn't, Emmanuel.
I
You
didn't.
were there. You were there listening to us on commentary. Him and Arlene turned down the television to listen to me and Noah call the show.
I know I get
We
so into things.
we thought that it was over. We thought Lola was walking out of there with this.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so well booked. They told that story so good.
Yeah, they did. I got super invested in that match. I was like, oh my God. And I felt so bad for Roxanne at the end. I was like, oh my
So
God.
wait a minute. So wait a minute. I'm going to clarify this for the people watching on your channel that love that you do NXT. You got super invested in this women's title match and you were chanting whoop that trick during the main event.
Yes.
Datilla is an NXT fan, y'all. She may not want to come out and admit it. She may not watch it every week now, but you can tell the way that she's talking about it that over this month she became an NXT fan.
And hopefully over this month, you finally start to believe in Joe Henry and you trust the system.
We will see. That's asking a lot. You should just be saying, hopefully, you'll become a TNA fan. I'm not
Fine.
asking you to
Hopefully you
enroll in
become a
Chase U. I'm not asking you to join the D'Angelo family. I'm not asking you to believe in some of these other characters on the show. I just want you to be a fan of my NXT.
fine. I hope you become a TNA fan there. Happy now?
Thank you.
Io says the two went at it backstage. Love this. You said of Roxanne. Yep, we were you got hook line. I sort of tuned into PLs. He did tell me that.
Hmm. And the TV specials, because like Roadblock, New Year's Evil, Halloween Havoc, those are big shows too. They
Okay,
just
yes.
they don't want to do 24 PLEs a year.
Michael says he can't believe I'm an NXT fan as well.
Yep.
We'll
See, Michael, we made it happen, bro. She, like I said, she may not review it every week, but over this past month, she became a fan.
Anywho, just to wrap up this match, my favorite spot in this match was when Roxanne did the side Russian leg sweep to Lola Vice, and she did the DDT to Lyra and
Yes,
Valkyria.
that was
I thought that was a really
that
cool
was sick.
combo. But Lyra and Valkyria was left standing tall. I can't wait to see how it goes at Stand and Deliver and Roadblock.
I was kind of cracking up early on when they were doing the chain wrestling and the feathers were falling out of her hair, and you could see the purple feathers all scattered upon the ring there.
Yeah, and you alluded to this. It probably would be Roxanne Perez versus Lola Rice because they were still fighting backstage.
Yeah, there's definitely something there that needs to be rectified, and I don't know if Shawn Michaels is going to be able to keep them apart from each other to make that match for Roadblock, but it's only a month away. It'll be March 5th. So
we get another segment featuring the ladies of Chase U. And this one had that guy Osborne, I forgot his first name,
Riley Osborne.
Riley Osborne, ask out Thea Hale.
Yes. Oh, that almost brought a tear to my eye because I've had Emmanuel and Arlene in the chat room for open mic night, NXT watch alongs, for the love of wrestling, poking at me, taunting at me that Riley Osborne was going to have eyes for JC Jane instead of Thea, and just totally push Thea over the edge. So to see Riley walk up to her, ask her if she had a Valentine yet, and ask her to be his Valentine, I was like, yes, vindication.
Emmanuel says he and Arlene smell a heel turn on Valentine's Day.
Unfortunately, I could see that happening too, but don't put that out there in the ether,
Yeah, Ricky
Emmanuel.
Bobby.
We want Thea to be happy. A happy Thea is a good Thea.
Well, I don't really know much about Thea, but
yeah, see, you've only
Arlene says
seen this new side of Thea. If you go back about 6 months
I'm
and
not going
watch some,
back
I
6
know you're
months.
not. I'm just saying, if you went back about 6 months and we're watching some of the NXTs from there, Thea Hale was this energetic spitfire who would just run to the ring. She'd be screaming, her hands clenched, like, let's go, type of thing. And like the energy was so infectious that you couldn't help but support the girl. 5 foot nothing, 100 pounds, bundle of energy. And then JC came into things and kind of started to give her a little bit more edge. And for a little bit, she was kind of acting a little bit, we'll say, emo-ish. The energy went down. She started doing darker clothes. And then over time, JC kind of started to get a little bit more of the Thea pep. And Thea kind of got her pep back and not as emo when JC started trying to save Chase U and everything. So it's just been one of those things. It can't help but love Thea. And I know, Arlene, I know you want her
Arlene
to
says she's
turn
turning
heel.
heel. Io says give me Dijak versus Obafemi. Okay, I could see that. I think that'd be a pretty
That
decent
wouldn't be
match.
bad. We'll get to Obafemi in a minute there, but
Yeah.
it just warmed my heart to see him ask her out. But I can see what Emmanuel's saying, and them be out on the date or whatever, and then all of a sudden JC shows up and things get a little bit salty and sideways. Don't do that to me.
Don't break JJ's heart. It's bad enough his back
No,
hurts,
no.
but you don't need to break his heart.
For real. For real. Change my name here to the Renegade Quasimodo.
um, so next we get the NXT North American title match of Dragon Lee versus Obafemi. This was a great match as well. Obafemi is a star on the rise. Like, I mean, Dragon Lee's a star too, but freaking Obafemi was tossing him around like a freaking ragdoll here. You know,
Yeah,
but
Obafemi is a beast.
he is. I mean, he hit him with the backbreaker, stomps, a suplex. He caught him with a crossbody. Like he did the He bit the rope at one point. I was like, holy smokes. He dropped him on the ring apron. He sent him into the chair. He clotheslined him and powerbombed him. I mean, like, he was just dominating Dragon Lee here. Oba is a rising talent. He is. But what are your thoughts on this match?
It was basically what I expected. I figured Dragon Lee was going to take the L, go back to SmackDown, reinsert himself in the LWO Legado del Fantasma storyline. But he deserved his rematch considering Obafemi blindsided him when he cashed in his breakout tournament contract and stole the title. But yeah, Obafemi, dude, give me Oba versus Dijak, like AO said. Give me Oba versus Lashley. Give me Oba versus Gunther. I know he's not on the best terms right now. We'll see what happens as far as the legal issues, but give me Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. Like, just let me see these two beasts crash in the ring with each other.
What about Obafemi versus Braun Breaker? Has that happened?
No, not yet.
That too.
That would be a good one too.
Yeah. All right. So after this, we get a third and final Chase You segment. And a fight breaks out between Lex King and Riley Osborne. Dave says Oba versus Gunter would be great. Yeah. So I guess this might set up a match or something. That's probably why this fight broke out. And then after that, we got a couple of announcements. March 5th is Roadblock, and then it's NXT Stand and Deliver. And then May 26th, Ava Rain said NXT is going back on the road, so NXT Battleground is in Savannah, Georgia. What are your thoughts on this segment and these announcements? Carmelo said whooped in an exclusive video. Oof, he threw shots.
The segment was awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing Riley Osborne take on Lexis Keene on Tuesday. Defending the honor of his girl as Lexis Keene tried to come in there and, throw his haterade around. Should be a good match. Tuesday looks like it'll be a good Fallout show.
Michael says he whooped Trick. He did indeed. All right, so we're going to stop there because we already talked about the main event. So, overall, on a scale from 1 to a Sean Spears perfect 10, what would you rank tonight's show?
I'm going to give it a 9.5.
9.5? Emmanuel says, yeah, Lex King versus Riley on NXT. Perfect. He says, surprise, he made Trick bleed. Yeah. 6 out of 10, Michael gives it.
This was a damn good show.
Io gives it an 8 out of 10. Overall, I did think it was a pretty decent show. But like I said earlier, I felt like the 6-person tag match was 6-person mixed tag match was arguably the weakest match of the whole card. So that match kind of just didn't do it for me. I also felt like the vignettes were a little out of place because like after the opening match, they played the whole vignette for Roxanne Perez versus Lyra Valkyria. So I was like, oh, that match is next. And it ended up being Dijak versus Joe Gacy. So I was a little confused by that. Did anybody see the cryptic promo at Vengeance Day? Yes. I did. We'll talk about that right now at the end. So it wasn't a bad pay-per-view, but there were things I disliked. So because of that, I'd also would agree with Io. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It wasn't a Sean Spears perfect 10, but it was pretty decent enough that it was an 8. Anything, if there would have been one more match that I didn't like, it probably would have been an 7.5. The crowd booed the WrestleMania. Vegas pass graphic. Dave gives it a 9
That's
out of
I
10. Oh, sorry.
I can take an 8 out of 10 from you because at least now you're a fan of the product.
It says I end NXT with a bang. Daniel says he would give it an 8.9 out of 10. So that cryptid promo, I was a little confused. Like, somebody's debuting for NXT, but I can't figure out who. I know there was rumors that they were interested in like Camille and Julia. So I wonder who it is. Who do you think it is? Just based on what they said.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and rewatch it because I really wasn't paying attention to the promo when it aired.
It's it. Somebody
Me and
has street
Noah were kind of
access.
talking about stuff, so
Yeah, I couldn't. I wouldn't know, but it would be interesting to see who it ends up being.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, I have to say this was quite the interesting experience. You know, I haven't watched NXT since I think the ending of the Black and Gold era. So it was interesting, I'd say, to kind of check out this new NXT because I do have friends that do watch NXT and they tell me sometimes, like, oh, the show sucked, you know, it's background noise. So I never really gave it a chance. And also, to like, that's how I would know what's going on in NXT because they would tell me what's going on in NXT, also Twitter and stuff. Uh, but you know what? It has its ups and its downs. Wasn't too bad, but it was just an inconvenience for me.
Right. No, I get it. It's like Noah says, it may not be the black and gold, but it's better than what it was when the 2 point era began. And for you to say that you enjoyed the majority of your experience watching it and to be willing to cover the TV specials and the PLEs going forward,
Only if I
once
get
you
to a
get to a
thousand
thousand
subscribers.
subscribers, that's good enough for me.
And the only reason would even begin to cover the PLEs and the specials is because I'm not covering TNA Impact on my channel anymore.
Right.
All right, JJ, as we get ready to sign off, where can people find you and what do you have coming out?
You can find me on Twitter at ROWJJ Williams, on Instagram at the Renegade JJ Williams. I do my own wrestling reviews, excuse me, every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, covering all the wrestling for the week. Mondays, I usually do the weekend shows, so Collision, SmackDown, and Rampage. Tuesdays are Raw, Wednesday, NXT, Thursday, AEW Dynamite, Friday, TNA Impact. I'm probably going to be sprinkling some Explosion in on Wednesdays when I do the NXT review because it's only 40 minutes on YouTube every Tuesday. So
Fridays, if you have the app.
yeah, I don't have the app. So
Me neither.
40 minutes on Tuesdays on YouTube. Watch it before I watch NXT. Not a big deal. So
IO says Raw should be interesting tomorrow. Yeah, the Raw crowd should be interesting, guys. See what happens with that. Michael says, get me to
yes,
1,000 subs. Yes, get me to 1,000 subs and you'll see more of NXT. Otherwise, you won't see anything. All right.
yes.
As for
She
myself,
needs 27 subscribers. Do it.
as for myself, I cover Raw, SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, I'll say AEW Rampage. I don't do that anymore. I also cover TNA Impact over on Body Slam. So if you're a big fan of TNA, make sure you tune in every Thursday at Body Slam to see me cover TNA. I also like Power Rangers. I should be doing some Power Rangers stuff. And, you know, we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of Power Rangers Super Mega Force. So it should be interesting to revisit that season 10 years later. But with that being said, you guys don't forget. Thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continuous support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you can notify whenever I go live or release a new video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow after Raw. Bye.